Hello guys, I'm Reyes and with me is Mark Daniel Ramos. We're from De La Salle College of St. Benilde taking up Bachelor of Science in Architecture. And this video presentation is a partial requirement for our architectural design subject.
In this video, we are going to discuss and present to you our design proposals and how we have come up with those ideas. In the succeeding part of the video, we will elaborate and briefly discuss our design processes and reasons behind the spaces to be proposed.
To start this off, we would be giving you a brief background on what the project is all about.
The project that was assigned to be developed is located at the University of the Philippines Diliman campus in Quezon City. It's a state university having a total of 493 hectare land area and composed of different colleges and offering variety of courses.
And our task as students is to choose a site within the vicinity where it would be best to develop a space for differently abled people, or DAP. Now, who are the differently abled people?
These are type of people that are disabled or handicapped, and some are bounded by wheelchairs, using canes or being supported by crutches that helps them with their condition.
Our primary client that needs to be focused on is the DAP from ages 4 to 12 and our paraplegic patients. Now, what is paraplegia?
Paraplegia is a paralysis of all or part of your lower body, which was caused by damage in the spinal cord. Now, in general, what do you feel when you are disabled or handicapped?
Most of the time, you feel depressed, feeling sad, and hopeless. But these feelings can be treated by respective psychiatrists, physicians, or caregivers, but not only bounded or limited to. Now, given those details regarding the background of the project, we will now tell you our objectives, expectations, and strategies with respect to the said problem. So our objectives are to promote inclusivity, bridge the gap among people, and neglect or blur out the mentality of people towards the DAP.
We wanted the DAP to be part of the society and make them feel belong with other people. And as part of our objective, we wanted the people to open their eyes and give opportunity to know and be aware of their condition.
It was our main goal because we see that these differently abled people lack the opportunity to express themselves. So we wanted to give them that opportunity.
We also wanted to expand their potentials despite their condition. Now, what are expected outcomes based on these objectives?
As a result, we expected to successfully clear out the lines among people. We wanted to neglect the boundedness between the normal people and DAP and bring out the utmost potentials among them.
And we also expect them to have a new environment wherein they could freely express themselves.
Now, our expected output are spaces that would boost up the morality of the DAP, since one of our expected outcome is bring out their utmost potentials. A space that would engage them to be more aware of what they are capable of and for them to socialize and familiarize with themselves.
These were our expected output because our aim is to maximize their capabilities and let them have the freedom to do what they want. Now, with those expectations being set, how are we going to achieve the said objectives?
First off, we wanted to make the space be accessible enough for the DAP by making the walkways or pedestrians as efficient as possible. And it would also be an advantage if we would know their interests to give them courage to express oneself and make the space be utilized or maximize its potential by making it reusable or transformable.
These strategies not only would help the DAP to have their freedom to express, but also giving them the opportunity to feel the space and not the usual home routines.
In relation with the objectives, we came up with our thesis. Advocating inclusivity and social interaction would expand the capabilities of DAP. This thesis statement actually says that by being involved in the society and being socially capable helps the person to grow and develop.
In contrast to our thesis statement, nurturing exclusivity and promoting self-awareness would allow the DAP to explore one's capabilities. This anti-thesis statement elaborates on how a person can grow and develop in terms of exploring the capability of oneself.
With those being said, we have concluded to our synthesis stating that encouraging people to express oneself will enhance their self-awareness and potential to be capable of social interaction, thus making them holistic or complete in their development. By this statement, we can now say that by being able to freely express yourself and having freedom, you gain courage that you need in order for you to be socially capable and develop one's character despite any condition.
Being socially active actually helps you build your character and charisma. As a result, it will boost up the morality of oneself and therefore lessens the chances of feeling indifferent from other people. Now, moving on with the site analysis, we are going to explain to you the context and give you a brief background of the space that we are working on so you may have a clear picture of it.
The first thing that we are going to explain is the macro site analysis, where we are going to explain to you the spaces within the vicinity. As you can see, most of the spaces that we are dealing with are open spaces and academic buildings, which are highlighted in apple green and blue respectively. Since it's a school, so we expected that already. There are also residential areas which are highlighted in yellow color, wherein most of the faculty and staff of different colleges live there. And one of the major parts of the vicinity is parks and recreational spaces.
Now, academic spaces are the busiest parts of the vicinity, and most of the open spaces and parks are used to location for extracurricular activities such as NSTP, dance practices, rehearsals, and sometimes a space where they could hang out or stay too. Now, how does each space affect our client?
Most of the time, busy places intimidate the people who have no interest or any relation to it. Just like in academic spaces, most people that uses this are college students, aging from 15 to 25. And I can say that it doesn't really get along with our primary clients, which are kids that are in grade school, since these are the stage wherein they are still exploring on with what their interests are.
For the road networks, this is where you will see the access points within the vicinity, and where are the places that are most accessible.
As illustrated in the slide, UP's roads are accessible to all of its users. Most roads are also two-way. Roads which are used through the site's entrances are traffic during peak hours, usually before morning and afternoon classes start.
Multiple road access benefits the potential client in the terms of being to transfer from one place to another because of the parallel road linkages of the site. Jeepneys can also be easily found in most areas. That is why.
Landmarks provide users a slight accuracy of determining which part of the site is located.
Landmarks are used mostly by guests which are unfamiliar with the place. Students and workers here are already aware of the street names, so most of them doesn't actually use landmarks as a signifier.
Each vicinity has its own landmark. A basic example of this is the famous UP Oblation. Being exactly or near it signifies that you are within the Oblation Plaza.
Now, based on the data that the macro site analysis have given, we can say that it would be beneficial for the DAP to be placed where it isn't that busy as not to intimidate the kids. It will also be beneficial for them if the space would be near or along the transport routes of jeepneys where it easily accessible. So we have decided to locate the site near the entry point of the campus.
The vicinity is mostly open spaces and landscapes. These famous features of the site is one of the reasons why the place is visited for recreational purposes, such as outdoor sports, picnics, and strolls, which can't be done outside because of the hazardous elements which are scarce here in the metro.
The best place to focus the space to be developed, considering its potential users, which are kids with paraplegic disorder, is near the entry point of the campus in the south to make the future developed site beneficiary to both users. This site chosen is also advantage among the others because within its vicinity are already existing playgrounds.
Microsite analysis is simply the small or individual components of the site. Unlike the macro, which explains various complex features of the site, micro is the other way around. Bounded in this are the basic information we need in order to place the space accordingly, such as the sun path, which determines where the hottest part is in the site, the wind direction, the topographic status, the contours and the existing natural features, parking and open spaces, and mode of transportation.
Having to choose between many areas in the campus, the reason why we chose this site is first and foremost, we considered it easily accessible because a potential site must be easily visited. Second is how did it become accessible? Can people without their private vehicles access it? The western part of the site passable by jeepneys, so there will be no problem with it. Third is the existing features bounded within the exact site, which are what the potential clients are visiting it for.
Vegetation is flexible aesthetic features, which provide a vista for its users. More than adding such beauty, it also enables an escape in the urban world. By the way, it slightly manipulates the temperature and the wind.
Living every day in a gray sky, there will be parts of ourselves shouting for a clean air. UP is an example of a province-like feels inside the metro. Vegetation in the site benefits us in a way that the way it looks distracts us from what's outside.
Vegetation affects the climate by simply doing its job to filtrate the air and cool the area.
The advantages of the site in relation with the sun and wind path are its ability to use these natural features in the projects, such as natural lighting and ventilation, because the site has less barriers and obstructions.
Flood-prone areas in the chosen site exist on the east side of the site. As you can see, the shades of green also modifies its level.
It affects the site in terms of road passages, since the western part is the only route where jeepneys pass through. Floods make it unpassable sometimes.
From left to middle is the highest to deepest slope, and from right to middle is also highest to deepest slope.
The levels affect the site in terms of what explained earlier, the flood flow. Given the data wherein the central part of the image shown is where it usually floods because its slope is a deep, and it is also where water distribution is scarce unlike the higher slopes.
The site is naturally bountiful in terms of natural features, which can be used in the development as mentioned earlier. And despite its bounty, it is also prone to flood. Existing buildings are also present near the site.
The best site to locate the spaces is where there's less risk of disaster and is near the transport terminal. The best site to locate the spaces is where there's less risk of disaster and is near the transport terminal.
Inclusivity and sociability are two rare design themes as of the now because of the social trends which people are up to. For example, Wi-Fi's are the primary feature which people looks at whenever coming to a certain place. They also tend to go to exclusive places depending on their way of living. Our theme is to break what's trending and go back to the traditional way of building friendships and equalizing social classes. Expanding potentials, developing possibilities. Our goals are to enable its potential users that there is no such thing as disability, but uniqueness. This project's aim is to enhance their skills in a way where they can move without boundaries and treated like normal people. Another goal of us is to connect people through various special interest groups, which will be executed through providing different recreational structures, such as libraries, sports areas, etc. As for our conceptual phase, first off, we would like to show you some of our sketches and how we arrived with such ideas. As we have said earlier, we wanted to maximize the potential of the structure. So we think of a way wherein we could maximize the container van as flexible as possible, as not to stick with what is given. So showing you the sketches, we tried to manipulate the shape of the container by flipping its sides in the first place. Forming such figures would maximize the space that can be used as a cover, pathway, or to protect the things necessary. And further thinking of the possibilities, we folded, cut and combine it to form more movable and flexible space.
After all the sketches that we have made, we came up with a concept which is adaptation. The whole idea of the proposed project is to make the spaces adapt its users, making it usable by any kind of people, may it be handicapped or normal person. The reason behind the spaces we will be proposing is knowledge behind entertainment. We aren't just providing just because it sounds fun for its users, but for them to develop their motor, cognitive, social, and creative skills.
Just like what Mark said, we wanted them to enhance their skills in different aspects. Considering their condition and time frame of development, it is the stage wherein they explore more of oneself, what their interests are, and know what they are capable of doing. So we are proposing spaces that would help them enhance these things as part of their development as children.
The space matrix is a graphical presentation of the relationships of the spaces. By this, we will know if a certain space can be placed adjacent to a certain space or not.
As shown in the video is a matrix of relationships of the spaces to be proposed. Now, Children's Park should be close to the lounge and cafe area where they could have social interactions, while the art center would be beneficial if close to the park, as this art center attracts the kids because of the act of play that the space gives. Now, the library is somehow isolated since knowing that library should be in a place where there is not much noise and disturbance, but gives a sense of one's own space and time. The bubble diagram also works just the same with the space matrix. The difference is just it is more visual in terms of assignment.
Just to give you a clear picture of how it actually explained. Now, we made the Children's Park the most accessible among the spaces since it is what attracts the kids. This is where they feel their moment being as kids, where they could just play and enjoy. Now, what they could benefit from the spaces would be enhanced discovery of the user's potentials, giving possibilities of social interaction and a source of relaxation. That's why we provided the cafe and lunch. We decided to make the floor plan of the cafe somehow symmetrical in order for the users to access the space easily.
For the lounge, we made it enclosed but not totally disconnecting it from the outside because we wanted the users of the space to still have connection with its surroundings. And to recall the spaces earlier, we wanted them to develop their skills in different aspects. That's why we have provided a library for them to have their own sense of time for oneself, a playground to let them have the freedom to explore, and an art center for them to express emotions, develop their character and confidence as DAP.
We made the library arranged in a way that the users will have ease in using the space. In this manner, it would not be chaotic for the administrator to monitor the users within the space.
We made the floor plan as approachable and inviting as possible, making the interior colorful and have adequate walkways for any children, may it be disabled or not. As you can see in the side section, we have made it leveled equally with the road for the users to have ease of access instead of hilly-like pathways. In this way, it would be more welcoming for them to go in this place.
Now, using the site development plan, we can clearly see the locations of spaces and their adjacencies, and we can easily visualize the efficiency of the pathways for the users.
Now, how do these spaces affect them? It gives them confidence and sense of belongingness for the DAP and recreation. It also serves an opportunity to know what their interests are.
Not only they would have a new environment, but it can also be future tourist attraction to future visitors and students of the prestigious university in the country.
Now, before we end the presentation, we would like to thank our professor in Architectural Design 3, Mr. Gino Abrera, for the advices and guidance regarding this project. This won't be possible without the help of our mentor.
We would also like to give credits to the University of the Philippines and for the people in the campus for having us in wayfinding and providing the informations we need in order to finish this project. Thank you for watching this video, and we hope you appreciated our presentation.